very simple, but to move your eyes laterally back and to move them back and forth like this, as far as I can tell. Like a lateral movement back and forth if something really intense is happening. I know it'd be tough to probably do if you're talking. So excuse me. But, if you're kind of overwhelmed or you're getting carried away or taken away, at least in your meditation, you could open your eyes while that feeling is present, kind of whelming up, and move your eyes laterally. And I'll send out a note about that, kind of a further footnote for you to explore. I thought that's pretty cool. I had not heard of that, but it kind of makes sense in the sense that you're activating both sides of your brain through a physical movement. So I like that. Anyway, so because this is my class and I get to do, well, I get to offer whatever I want. I'm going to offer a little bit of standing yoga before we sit, just to kind of get you in the right space. Hopefully, for me, this helps to brighten the mind and also brighten the mind from dullness, but also to ground and center attention. So I find it really helpful in both of our endeavors in the beginning stages. So if you will, if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. I didn't sign up for yoga. All right, so hold on. No, this camera thing.
Sorry.
All right, no, it's fine. All right, so you can show the room instead of me, maybe.
Well, how would everyone see how to do what you're going to teach them?
Because everyone will be doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
And they can see me.
Not a video.
Huh?
Not a playback the video.
Yeah, but they'll see y'all doing it. It'll be fine. Yeah. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You'll be fuzzy anyway.
That's great.
Cool. Welcome. Right on time. Okay. So go ahead and stand with your feet hips distance. Soften your knees a little bit. You're going to start by bouncing. Let your shoulders bounce. And then make sure that you're not going to hurt or get in anybody's way. And then I want you to kind of just swing your arms. Maybe even kind of knock you and hit you up a little bit. And start to deepen your breath as you do this. And you can just kind of gaze down in front of you. And then slowly reduce that. And you'll kind of come back to standing. And then here, go ahead and inhale, take your arms up. And at the top of your inhale, let your breath drive your movement so that right at the peak of your inhale, your hands touch. And then as you exhale, bend the knees and just fold over your legs. You might interlace the hands behind you, palms touching. Reach the fists up to the sky. Shake the head yes and no. As you inhale, breathe in, sink the hips low, lift the heart, knees stay bent, just look up, breathe, like skier's pose. Then exhale, slowly turn the head back down to the ground. Knees can stay bent or straighten if you like. And just do that 2 more times. Breathe in, slowly. Tuck the tail, lift the low belly, look up. Exhale, fold. Nice breathing, inhale, smooth and long, look up. Nice exhale, fold. Bend the left knee, turn to the right, you're still hanging low. So the right leg is straight, the left knee is bent. You're looking to the right. Which way? Which right? Yes, there you go. You feel a stretch in your outer right hip and IT band. Take a big breath here. If you want to intensify the feeling, you can put more weight into your right leg. Switch to interlacing of your hands so that the opposite index finger is on top. And then switch. Bend the right knee, straighten the left leg, and look to the left. Breathe nice and big. Focus on your breathing and breathing into any intensity that you feel. Notice any resistance and just try to let that go. And then transfer more weight to the left. Play around with intensifying that feeling, and then soften both knees. Let your head hang, release the arms, and slowly, 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 head heavy like a rag doll, roll up to stand. Circle the shoulders. Nice. And then inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, slowly fold down. Bend the knees. It's like old people yoga, but it's really effective. Nice. Inhale, straighten the legs, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come back up. Roll up the spine. Inhale the arms up. Breathe in, exhale, hands in prayer. Now you're going to go ahead and sit. Meditatively make your way to your seat. We're going to continue this little thing. This is what I do every morning before I sit.
It's a good stretch.
It's nice. Yeah. Everything gentle. Nothing too extreme. So then from here, you're going to inhale the arms up. Nice. And as you exhale, you're going to interlace the hands behind you. Straighten the arms. Inhale, reach the knuckles down, look up, crack your heart open. Nice. And as you exhale, release the hands and come to hug your chest. Tuck the chin, tuck the tail. From here, if you look up at me, you're going to come into Garudasana. You're going to take the hands, back of the hands together, or maybe the front of the hands. Inhale, look up, lift the elbows, and then exhale, tuck the spine, take the elbows to the belly button. Come into a little ball. Nice. Inhale, release the arms. Breathe in, nice and wide. Really try to reach with your pinky finger and all of your hands. You might feel it in the eyes of your elbows. And then you're going to hug yourself the opposite way and fold. Inhale, look up. Now you have Garudasana the other way. Press the top arm down on the bottom arm. And inhale, look up. And then exhale, tuck the tail, take the elbows into the belly button, all the air breathe out. Nice. Inhale, come back up, release the arms, stretch out nice and wide. And then you're going to take a twist. You're going to take the left hand, I'm not mirroring you. Take the left hand outside the right knee, and then reach the right arm back behind you. Take a big twist. And then you're going to reach the right arm up to the sky and hang on that left straight arm. So look up. You'll feel it behind your left shoulder blade and on the right side. Take a big breath here. Exhale. Nice. Inhale, come back through center and then switch and twist to the other side. To start nice and easy, take a few deep breaths. Imagine lifting your rib cage with your breath and then slowly taking the watery stomach over to the left so that each rib and each vertebrae slowly turns. And then you'll take your arm up. Breathe in and hang here. Breathe out. So you're really hanging on that right arm. Do you guys feel that? Mm-hmm. Look up. Big, even breathing. Nice. And then inhale, come back to center. Nice. Shake it out and then take your hands. If you're right-handed, let your left hand be on top. If you're left-handed, let your right hand be on top. If you want to keep your hands some other way, that's cool. I invite you to toss me one of those pillows, please. Thanks. I really invite this. Perfect. This for me helps get me into helps physical pliancy along. So I'll hold a pillow and I'll kind of hug a pillow like this, so that my arms and everything are relaxed. I'm not really. I don't have to do much effort, so I can soften a lot. So this is nice if you want to explore that. Okay, we'll start with a pranayama. We're going to do a longer meditation today. We're going to start with a pranayama. Okay. Yeah, try it. It's so simple and sounds silly, but it's so nice. My favorite is like a big fluffy pillow to just kind of hug almost. Cool. So we're going to start with a pranayama. How many of you feel tired? This is a pranayama. If you're a little tired, foggy, end of the day, I've been working a lot, you know. Okay. So I'll teach this pranayama. It's commonly taught in yoga classes. It's called Kapalabhati. That means it's like a breath of fire. And it brightens up the room, apparently. And you do it by contracting the low belly with like almost pulling the stomach muscles back into you to force an exhale. It's pretty cool once you start to do it. It's not the best if you're on your period or if you have ovulation like sensitivity. So if you're a lady on your cycle, you might be like, that's a little too intense for me right now. It's really just like banging straight into your parts. If you just ate, it also sucks. You'll start burping and it's really tough. But if you are a little sluggish, that's great. It's a really brightening practice. In Tibetan tradition, it's known as skull shining, which is really cool because it pushes the energy and the energy of the breath, not the literal air, right? Because there's no air in your brain because then you have an aneurysm or something. Something wouldn't work. That's your heart. Anyway, something bad would happen if there was like air pockets in your brain. It's the energy of the practice, of the energy of the pranayama, and you can feel it on the inside of your brain, kind of like shine, like the Sistine Chapel, like shine the skull from the inside out. So if you feel that, that's kind of fun. Right. Is anyone feeling agitated or like they drink too much coffee or like they're kind of wired and a little nutty? No? Yeah. Okay. Wait, you're both? Isn't it usually both? For me, it is. Okay. No, not usually. I know what you mean, but it's very rare. That's like the tired, cracked out, I pulled them all-nighter in art school kind of feeling. Is there one?
It's not that bad.
Okay. Is there one that's more predominant?
I mean, I was really tired, so I just like drank some really intense green tea, which like makes me
a little nerved.
yeah.
Okay. So we'll do this one together. And if you are in that camp, I'd invite you guys, you're going to do something a little different. You're going to, just for now, just practice big, full breathing, like a full swing. So you'll do an Ujjayi breath. Are you familiar with that? I'll teach it for a second. So Ujjayi breath is like an ocean sounding breath that's common in yoga. It works by contracting the, what is it? The guttural stop, like the there's a sphincter here too. I know and everything. So it can't help. I'm not media ready. You contract this part of your throat to regulate the flow of air, right, through the body. So you can practice this. You do it. There's one way that everybody does it and has done it since they were kids, and that's when you play in the mirror and you like fog up a mirror and you go, right, to kind of fog up a mirror. So if you just go and like feel the breath coming out of your mouth, you can just everybody do it. Let's not make those two girls feel silly, right? So that's the feeling in the throat, but you can do it not just breathing out, but also breathing in. So if you go and then close your mouth and do the same, that's a yogic Ujjayi exhale. And then you can keep that contraction and breathe in. And then you try to extend it and smooth it out. There is a little bit of a bell curve, but it's nice and slow, like a little like swing, sing song like this. So you're gonna pause at the top of the inhale and at the top of the exhale. So I just want you guys to be working on lengthening the exhales. The exhales are connected to the parasympathetic nervous system, to relaxing, to feeling nice and calm. So that will calm your nerves if you do the Ujjayi breath and just focus on lengthening your exhales as long as it's comfortable. Don't get type A on that, but just lengthen your exhales and then come back. And then the rest of us are going to do a Kapalabhati. Then we'll do a different pranayama altogether to bring us from brightening to focusing. Okay, sound good? Cool. I will demonstrate first. I like to do, since we've been doing little yogic things, I'll do I will do the, this one version. So you can do it just simply, standing up and tall with your hands folded, but you can also do it, and it accentuates the way that the air is held if you use your arms, right? So what we'll do is you'll have your hands out like this. Maybe you can wait until I do it all the way, because there's a few steps to it. I don't know. You can stretch if you want. But so you'll have your hands out like this, and you'll put your fingers into your palms, and you'll close your eyes. But I won't right now. you'll close your eyes, and then you'll start by breathing in and breathing out, and then breathe in halfway, and then you'll start pumping the belly in it. It's like a bellow, so it's like this. I'm not, and I snot a little bit, and I'll bring y'all tissue. But you don't inhale. Your inhales just kind of come naturally by virtue of the difference in pressure. So you'll do that with the eyes closed. A lot of people, when they do this, and this is one of the reasons why this arms out is a nice variation, because when most people are learning this the first time, watch what happens to my body if I don't try to sit up tall. They get really serious, and then they kind of cave in, and they really focus on the belly like this. So I'm going to invite you guys to sit up nice and tall when you're doing this, and you're going to have short, sharp exhales at the belly. If you're doing it in a more advanced way, you'll also tighten the pelvic floor. So you'll pull the four corners of the pelvic floor in and up to kind of create a lock of Mula Bandha if you're yogis. Yeah, and so you'll go exhale, exhale, and we'll do it a number of times. You'll get kind of tired. Then you'll exhale all the air out, every single last drop. And pull, and the belly will pull in, like, you remember, like little boy, like you look like a skeleton, like you'll pull the belly in through it. Okay, and it just reminds me of this one kid I used to know in swim team who would just like flip his eyelids and like run around like that. Yeah, so you do that, make yourself completely empty, and then breathe in, and you'll be here. And here, I'd like you to focus on your third eye, or what you think your third eye is, somewhere in the midbrain. Don't worry about it too much. Then inhale, you're going to lock the low belly, and you're going to inhale just into where the rib cage is, like just to the top third of the lungs. You're going to inhale, lock the arms, and then you'll have this big full inhale, and you'll pull in the pelvic floor, you'll pull in the low belly, and you'll tuck the chin gently, lengthening the back of the neck. And so you hold the inhale. It feels really good. Like, I don't know if any of you ever like swimming underwater and holding the breath there. So it's like one of my happy places as a child, just like floating to the bottom of a pool, like that, or whatever it is for you. That's how it is for me. You'll focus on your third eye, and then you'll release and exhale naturally. And we'll be done with the round, okay? We'll do that 3 times, okay? All right. So don't worry if you get lost, okay? And don't worry about doing it right. That's silly. We'll just learn it. Okay. So let's just start by lengthening our inhales and exhales. We'll get you 2 started. And then y'all won't do this because it'll make you like this. It'll make it worse, okay? This is good for brightening. It's great for winter time. It's great for morning time before practice. It's just really nice, very cleansing. Some people like to also put with it, oh, is there anything you want to kind of let go of or get rid of, which of course is language I don't like because it feels repressing. So whatever is coming up is, part of it. But just anything that you are giving too much attention that you just want to be in the background, you can kind of let it go in that way. But if you just want to keep it straight and breath oriented, it works its magic that way, no matter what. Okay, so let's start by turning our arms out, thumbs up and hands in, and then just take a few really deep breaths. Take a big breath in through Ujjayi, breath constrict the throat. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, feel the top of your inhale, and then exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice. Pause at the bottom, stay empty. Then inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stay full. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice. Everyone take your arms down. Keep your eyes closed. And then breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay empty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And continue on if you're Ujjayi breathing during the session. Otherwise, For the rest of us, keep your eyes closed and extend your arms back out, thumbs up. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in halfway and begin pumping the stomach, snapping it back. Engage the pelvic floor, lift the heart, lift the chin. Speed it up a bit. And then exhale all the air out. Stay empty. Reach the arms out to the side. Engage the pelvic floor. Pull the low belly in and up. Keep the mouth and the nose closed, but kind of do that fake breath. And I'm going to stay here for a while. When you're ready, slowly, slowly engage the lower bandha, pelvic floor, engage the low belly, and then sip air into the top third of your lungs as you lift the arms overhead and interlock the thumbs. Extend the fingers. Reach up and gently tuck, drop the chin, lengthening the back of the neck. Hold the air in the lungs around the heart. Feel it opening the heart. You might press the tongue to the top of the mouth and take your mind like a hand and feel inside between the eyebrows. And release the hands when you're ready. Release the breath. Let it come out naturally. And just notice the difference that you feel before and after Kapalabhati breathing. You can open your eyes now, but try to stay in that mental state. If you don't want to open your eyes, don't. I'll leave it up to you. So, I said we're going to do it 3 times, but that's too much for you. Go to the next one. You can have these tools when you need them. The next that we'll do is called Nadi Shodhana. That's alternate nostril breathing or alternate channel breathing. So you're going to take your hand and you're going to put the peace fingers down. Then you're going to take your ring finger. And this is like how you're going to play with your nose. Have fun. Don't stick it in there. You're going to block one nostril and open the other, and block one nostril and open the other. Okay? That's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 9 rounds. And you can actually do this as you map the body and kind of feel more how things are moving more subtly. So you can not even use the alternate. You can just try to breathe more with one nostril, and you will, and you try to breathe more with the other nostril. But we'll do a little bit of a map. So when we breathe with the right nostril, you're going to be breathing along the right side of the body from the tip of the nose through the right eye to the crown of the head, and then down along the body on the right side, all the way to the low belly, about hands width below the belly button into the body. You're going to inhale. This is the top of your inhale. Then you're going to exhale up the left side, kind of mirroring, and then out the left nostril. So we'll do left 3 times. Then we'll do left to right 3 times. Then you'll do through both nostrils. We'll take the hands down and you'll do through both nostrils. And you'll kind of breathe through both of those little trails to the low belly. And then as you exhale, you're going to exhale through the midline of the body, your Sushumna Nadi, your midline. Exhale through the midline up to the crown of the head and then out of the like unicorn horn third eye. Okay, so do that 3 times. And then I'll let us rest, and you can either keep yourself hanging out down here at it's kind of close to it's a Triveni, or it's kind of similar to a Dantian down here. Or if this is kind of lighting up for you and interesting, you'll stay up here around your third eye, your Ajna chakra. Okay, are there any questions about that? Technical questions, I don't want to have a conversation, right? Sounds good. Okay, so we'll begin. So you can make your hands into that peace fingers down, peace fingers down, the rest of it up. So pinky, ring, and thumb. Okay, now that you're here. So first, make sure you can breathe. Okay, block the left, and you're breathe through the right. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold at the low, low, low belly. Lift the pelvic floor in and up. And then exhale out the left, breathing through the left channel, up through the arm, the heart, the crown of the head, and out the left nostril. That's 1. Breathe through the right again, breathing in up to the crown, down along the right side to the low, low, low belly. Pull the pelvic floor in and up and pause here at the top of your inhale. Through the left side, breathing up the left side body to the crown and out the nose. Again, third time, breathe in through the right nostril, all the way down to the low belly. Draw the pelvic floor in and up to meet the breath. Pause here. Exhale slowly out the left side, up the left side channel to the crown and out the nose. Stay here with your hands. Inhale through the left side. Breathe in to the left top of the crown of the head, all the way down to the bottom. Hold. And then switch exhale out the right side. Nice and slow. Inhale left, breathe in. Hold. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. And release the right hand down. Inhale through both nostrils up the sides to the crown of the head, and then pull the inhale down, belly. Exhale through the center line of the body. Feel an energetic center line through the body, through the heart, through the throat, through the crown of the head, the midbrain, up into the sky. Inhale again, through both nostrils, evenly through the side channels, pulling the inhale down to the low belly. And this time exhaling, pulling that energy through the midline. Inhale once more. And then exhale slowly through the midline. This time shooting out through the Ajna chakra, through your third eye, through the fourth. And very gently, very softly, breathe into the midbrain. So between the eyebrows, set back. Kind of feel around for any sort of like density. Keep your eyelids soft. You're looking just for any shifts in sensation. There might be additional kind of more sensitive part that also feels like there's it's like a ball of energy. If you don't feel that, don't worry about it. Just see what's there. And let the sounds pass through you like you're translucent. Notice any resistance, is there aversion? Let it go. And then you're going to move and expand your attention to the whole body. Feel the edges of the skin. Keep your attention grounded in the body. Notice anything that's pleasant about your physical experience. Really appreciate and relish it. So try to balance attention and awareness. So there are voices. See if you can keep your attention tethered to the body. Those voices might make their way to be gross distractions. That's okay. Use this as an opportunity to notice how sounds arise, being pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, and the emotional triggers, the domino effect that that has. See if you can just watch that. Just continue to allow and welcome everything and everyone. And move your attention to the belly. And pull your attention up to the dome of the diaphragm, right above the abdomen. And then up into the lungs, the side ribs, the back ribs, and the front ribs. Into the throat. Through the neck, the root of the tongue, the sinuses, the face, all the way to the tip of the nose. Now, by this time in your practice, the tip of the nose should feel like home base. Right? It's familiar territory. I want you to recommit to keeping your attention tethered and devoted to the tip of the nose. Take a moment to really fire up that intention so that your entire being feels it, all of your subminds. And then fire up your intention to stay aware, to stay bright, expansive, welcoming every phenomena, anything that's a part of the present moment, anything that's happening now. arising and passing away. That's a part of the universe you are welcoming and you're aware of. You're letting everything come, letting it be, letting it go. There's a kind of softening at the edges of the skin and a radical acceptance that comes with awareness. So feel that balance between attention like fire and awareness, strong and seeking out. And we'll count to 10. You're going to let your breath be completely natural. When you inhale next, you're going to lengthen the body and just kind of place the body, creating a lot of space. And as you exhale, you're going to fill in that space and expand. Now you're going to commit to your seat. Okay? You will not move, you will not twitch, you will not itch. You will not do any of that. You might have an urge, and that's completely okay, but you're not going to respond. Notice if there's any resistance anywhere in the body or anywhere in the mind. The most subtle resistance. Try to let it go. Dare to let it go. As you soften your resistance, as you soften the edges of your skin, that doesn't mean that your intention isn't burning bright and that your attention isn't exploring the details at the tip of the nose. See if you can balance those two. They're not in opposition. And I want you to stay here and let your attention intentionally loosen it from the tip of the nose and just let the body breathe on its own. Stop doing it. Stop doing the meditation. Just let your body breathe. And when your breath truly is natural, you are truly passively observing. Very slowly, take your attention back to the tip of the nose. This time to the septum, that piece of skin that separates the nostrils. The very outside. And I want you to see as much detail here as you can. along the breath cycle, where is it the most cool or warm? Where are there changes in pressure? To get that level of detail, you might play with mapping it out in three-dimensional space. Kind of zooming in with your mind's eye, taking your mind like a hand and feeling around. Drawing an imaginary boundary, almost like a little laser circling around the space. And then try to isolate just the sensations that are there. Keep your body tall, still, and soft. And you're going to expand your scope of attention. And you're going to try to focus on where the left nostril meets the face on the left side, and where the right nostril meets the face on the right side. See if you can evenly divide your attention. If you experience this as a seamless knowing, or if you're experiencing this as attention toggling, alternating. This is very helpful for me when I have monkey mind. It requires so much bandwidth. It says you want to jump. Okay. Jump evenly between these 2 points. Keep your attention stable and steady. Keep your awareness bright and open and ready for anything. Now broaden your scope of attention to include the entire nostril. And the other one. And then expand even more to the corners of your lips, corners of the mouth, to the nose. So it's a broader triangle than you're normally used to. Keep attention tethered here, exploring the sensations in this broader territory. Just keep refreshing and refreshing the intention. Each moment of attention contains an intention for it to continue. Keep kind of refreshing and reinvigorating that intention, the momentum. Awareness is open and bright. And now, if it's appropriate, we'll start to label any potential distractions. If you're in your practice and you've moved beyond, if the words seem clunky, you can do the action of the labeling without using words. That same sort of, I see you, I'm not going to feed you with attention. Attention stays here. So work with labeling. Any subtle distractions that have a little bit of energy and are threatening to attention. Give them a label so that you can let them come, let them be, and let them go. Attention is steady. Come back to the tip of the nose. So you're going to contract the scope of attention. If any doing or action has crept up into the body, into the breath, into the meditation, let it go, become passive in the body again. You're translucent. There's no actor, there's no doer here. Just a series of intentions. Now, you're going to stay at the tip of the nose and practice your labeling or your close following. If it's appropriate, you'll progress onto a body scan to brighten the mind. Maybe do a whole body with the breath, jhana, or stabilize attention in stage 7. Okay, I'm going to leave you. So you're in control now. If you were tired and awake, okay, 10 minutes. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Bring to mind somebody that you love. Someone that makes it easy. I'm just gonna see them, feel them, call their presence. And just say to yourself, may you be free of suffering, alive and well in your body, free of any physical pain. Feeling completely alive and at ease in your body. Imagine them doing their favorite thing. And say to them, may you be free from ill will, at peace with everything and everyone. A complete peace, complete ease, open heart. And then may they be filled with loving kindness, a sense of brotherly, sisterly love, connected, part of everything and everyone, brimming with joy, reaching out and receiving. And then may they be truly happy, happy living in the truth. They're a unique happening in the universe, and at the same time connected to everything and everyone. Feel that joy that you feel imagining this in your body. Encourage it. Let all the feelings swim together. And then radiate those feelings out on the breath. As you exhale, let that orb of love and well-wishing spread out through the room, from them to the city. As you inhale, let that feed back into you, into your body, into the midline. On your next exhale, that energy and love gets bigger. Maybe covering the northeast. And so on. Build up to the farthest reaches of your imagination. Let every person and every being is covered and permeated with this wish for love and peace and happiness. And when you're ready, you can deepen your breath and open your eyes. We'll take a silent break. If you'd like to stay sitting, you can. If you need to go to the restroom and move about, you can. We'll meet back here at 8:15. Thank you for sitting with me for so long. I know that a lot of, at least some of you aren't used to sitting that long, so I appreciate you doing that with us. In general, we're moving too much. You have all the tools to learn a lot through a long sit. So you know what to do with pain, you know what to do with resistance, you know what to do with, well, those are the two big ones for a long sit. Cool. I love ending my retreats and a lot of the times my longer sits with a loving kindness meditation. We did like the super easy, quick version of that, because then you extend it on to people you feel easy. You're like my mom, my niece, like my dog, the cute, easy ones. And then you go to harder and harder people, neutral to like the person that really can, like, we all have them. They're usually the people, sometimes they're the people we love the most. That. It depends. We've all have them. You know, if you don't have them now, you will. It'll come up. Yeah. Did anyone notice anything interesting? Well, oftentimes I notice that when if I'm meditating and then I do a loving kindness meditation, I have this immense kind of, sometimes I can be instructed to do that and it feels really fake, or it feels like whatever, I'm just not there. Challenging. I'm definitely about, exploring what is and not forcing things, but to the extent that you can elicit those, right, and kind of create a stimuli to which you have a natural response of love. It's really amazing what that does to the energy in the body, right? The more you kind of open up and get that lovingness, it complements and encourages piti, which is the joy of meditation, which is kind of colored by that a similar kind of physical experience of energy, openness, and kind of joy that's radiating all on its own, not all on its own, through causes and conditions, but that's kind of emanating from you. In stage 8, so I like that because it kind of is another way of cross-training and kind of flipping yourself to experiencing a brighter mind, a more open and more luminous, like happy mind. And that is what characterizes the later stages. And so the more that you can support and alloy your mental training with that, the faster you'll move along, right? We've talked about this book and this kind of practice being one piece of a much larger puzzle that I hope for you includes something physical, includes something like how you treat other people and how you walk around in the world and how you treat yourself, how you think, your thought patterns, your behavior patterns, like really comprehensive. Maybe an eightfold path, maybe something else. So yeah. Stage 8 is characterized by, so we talked about stages 1 through 7 are all about training, right? And I hope that by now you kind of have started to pick up on this thing that whatever you're doing in this meditation is not for this meditation. Like there's a little bit of a delay in your training, right? Like it's just like lifting weights. Like you're burning, you're like maxing out on or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is so hard. It's hard, but it's hard because of how you've trained in the past, right? And for where you are. But doing that exercise is going to make it so much more easier and make you stronger the next time you go to the gym, right? Just kind of like running, just like anything else. And so when we're meditating, we're really just refreshing these intentions, and we're not worried about the way it's going right now, because we're actually training ourselves to have this amazing meditation later in your meditation, maybe next, tomorrow, next week. Like you really are training for your future meditation, right? Or so you just don't worry about what is arising right now. Just like you don't worry if you can't press the barbell up or whatever the metaphor is that works for you. It doesn't really matter because you're training, right? Stages 1 through 7 is all about training, attention, and awareness. Okay? But by the end of 7, because your mind has been unified around this idea that meditation is good, you're seeing some benefits, you have a kind of a quorum of subminds on board for it, the mind is effectively, subjectively unified, right? It feels good. I'm getting stuff out of this. I feel alive and awake. I like it. Like, yes. And through consistently repeating this behavior, so simple, dumb it down. We make it so complex, right? We make it so complex. No, this is really great detail and it's very helpful, but it is so simple. And especially all you smart people, it's just like throwing darts. It's that easy and that simple, okay? So that training brings you up to 7. But then what happens once the mind is unified and it becomes effortless? Then you get to play, right? Then you're never worried about your attention moving without, you intending it to move. There's no more spontaneous movements of attention. There's no more falling asleep, right? Now you get to work on 2 things in stage 8. The first is you get to play with your mind and explore it. You finally have a pliant mind. And so we'll do exercises and kind of insight practices to really understand it. And this is really the beginning. This is where you are getting to the stages of an adept, meaning that a teacher can guide you and kind of point you in directions, but it's really you who are exploring your own mind, right? So cool, right? Like you can have little games and little things that people tell you, but you're really the one observing and kind of navigating what that is all about. And you have this phenomenal tool to be able to do it. So I'll go through some of the exercises that there are for doing that. And it's funny because a lot of them are doing things that were big no-nos earlier on, but now with this mind, you'll be able to, it's very different. So you're doing these games and these exercises, some of which trigger insight, or kind of we're building up to insight and understanding the mind and exploring the mind. Cool. The second part of what you're doing, especially in stage 8, this is when PT, and we talked about this, all those strange sensations through all the senses are flaring up, right? It begins almost like a little rebellion, right? Oh, you're going to ignore all these sounds? I'll give you something, right? So you get all kinds of inner sounds, inner sensations, inner lights, inner tastes, even smells. Not everybody gets everything. We talked about this. This is my horrible Menzies analogy, whatever. Maturation. Like it just happens. You get all these gangly things. You grow. You get pimples. They go away. They come back. And then eventually, you're full-fledged, mature physical form. So in the beginning, they usually come in like fits and starts. It can be very distracting. The idea is that you just kind of ignore them, right? So you're going to be working on these other practices, exploring the mind, and you're going to ignore the crazy things that are going on until it becomes stable. So around grade 4 PT, I'm just going to hold this part of the book up. I have this is like it's not a real version of the book. It's like when we were doing like dry runs and proofing. So it's an earlier version, so the pagination is off. But in the 6th interlude, number 6, there is this diagram called progressive unification of the mind. And it's not so much a one-to-one, but I recommend that you read this section, especially if you're inching up to this area. It looks like this, like a little flow chart. Okay, like this. I won't read you all the details, but the idea is that
Page 239.
Yes, that's my 239. Is that your 239?
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Okay.
think so.
239. Yes. Okay. So that works. Yeah. So on page 239, so we're talking about pacification of the senses on one hand, right? And then you're also working with the pacification of the discriminating mind, also called mental pliancy. So the discriminating mind is also the mind that binding moments of consciousness. Remember we talked about things coming together and you create like a little picture of like this sound and this sensation, and then all of a sudden you're talking to somebody, and that's that one kind of full-on thing. The discriminating mind is being pacified at the same time that your physical body's being pacified. So those binding moments are becoming much more rare. But that's what kind of forks off, and the pacification of the discriminating mind really leads to both the bliss of physical and mental pliancy. Yeah, so stage 8, you're doing these two things. One is just exercising this really cool tool that you finally built. And then the second is just allowing the process of the pacification of the senses to happen, right? Like first it'll flare up. I think I talked, like in Birdman when they're showing like the intro reel, it's like all the jazz and like the letters are pop. It's kind of like that in the beginning. It's a little wild and staccato, or like the very beginning of a fireworks show when you don't quite know what's going on, right? And then you have all these like dazzling things, and then steady states. The steady state is usually an inner sound and an inner light, like the illumination and the inner light and a feeling of being completely physically, like you're on a complete bliss and physical joy with lots and lots of energy. So you're waiting for that to happen. So in the meantime, you have all these kind of crazy fits and starts. Once it kind of concretizes and the pacification is really full physical pliancy and meditative joy, then you're good to move on. To pacify the senses, you're going to exclude all sense objects from attention while sustaining metacognitive awareness. To cultivate meditative joy, you don't need to do anything, just keep practicing, right? It'll all happen on its own. So that's really that. And then in stages 9 and 10, it's just further, you're going from joy arising, right, to getting, and joy has a lot of energy to it. It's like it's a state. This was really hard until when you start playing in the jhanas, you'll start to see this. It's somewhere between an emotion and a physical state, right? Emotions are in the body, so this joy is in the body too. It's charged, and it has a lot of voltage, right? Joy in 9 becomes tranquility when you get used to it, right? And it subsides a bit as well, and you get used to it, and so then you're tranquil, right? It's no longer like this rush of like a volcano exploding. It's just this like state of joy, state of tranquility that's more even. Then after tranquility, right? And equanimity is this really powerful non-responsiveness. This is where you experience something you're a human being, you're a sense being, right? You're still an animal. You experience things that are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, right? Pain is inevitable, right? But then you might have an urge to do something, but you don't respond. Those urges arise and pass away, and there's no responding to that, right? So you develop a really powerful equanimity that helps you off the cushion as well, right? And that's that equanimity which helps you maintain shamatha throughout your daily life when things are moving a lot more quickly. You're not responding and reacting and getting sucked in emotionally, right, with the push and pull of what's pleasant and unpleasant, right? So just like that state that you're able to kind of cultivate in meditation, you're able to carry that out into the world, even in the face of things that are uncomfortable or painful or annoying. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit. I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the games in 8 when your mind is really fun and compliant. One is called momentary concentration. And if you're following, that's on 301. And this is really shifting your attention intentionally to various objects in peripheral awareness. So you start with the mind-generated sensations and feelings, and then you might move to the any kind of aversion or attraction or curiosity, like different emotional mental states. But the idea is that now you don't have any thoughts in the background, but you do kind of have these other softer contents of the mind and of your experience. And so you can take your attention there and you can direct attention to move to these things, these qualities that are part of your experience, but you're not going to be caught up by them because there's nothing, the generator of what's next and focus on this or on that, there's nothing to pull you in. And so you watch them arise for a bit and kind of fall away. And you can use alternating attention while keeping your primary focus on the breath, so you can kind of move attention from one to the other and notice what happens there. Earlier, we would have called these objects subtle distractions because your attention alternated to them spontaneously. Now, however, these movements of attention are fully intentional and effortlessly controlled. Right? So you're keeping the breath there, but you're toggling between these things. And then you'll experiment with redistributing attention to kind of focus on 2 or 3 things at once. You can allow things to become gross distractions, but you're alternating. And so you're playing and exercising that. So that which was once a spontaneous problem, you now can direct at will, and it's about getting confident with that. Then there's the meditation on arising and passing away, which is like how a sensation comes into existence, exists, and then fades away. That one, you'll notice several things. You'll notice the delay in timing and in how things will, there's a temporal aspect to your meditation. You'll notice how if a sense, a raw sense experience or kind of a moment of a sound like arises, like a sense precept that's unbound. It'll arise, but then it will kind of echo. It has a staying power, almost like your intention. It has a kind of inertia, positive inertia to exist, right? And the mind takes it and lets it echo for a bit, and then it will fade away. Sometimes you might also notice the relationship between what arises and the next thing. So there'll be some sort of loose train of thought that will cause one to another to arise. Let's see. The other ones. Choiceless attention is when you allow attention to move freely and just watch where it goes. It's not really choiceless because the subminds have some sort of things that they think are attractive or whatever, but you're letting it move around as it will. And then there's the meditation on dependent arising, which will cause, can trigger powerful insight. And I just wanted to read that because it's really, really is powerful. The other that I wanted to read is the finding the still point and realizing witness. These are 2 quite powerful meditations. So you'll do all of these. So I'll just kind of, I like the way he describes it, and I think it's just more efficient for me to do that. Okay, so for meditation on dependent arising, as metacognitive awareness grows stronger, the causal relationship between the various sensory and mental events become clearer, right? A sense precept and then a mental event of that precept. This happens because one of the basic functions of peripheral awareness is to perceive the relationships of objects to each other and to the whole. In this meditation, you follow mental events as they occur in sequence. Specifically, consciousness of a sensation or thought, contact, right, is followed by an affective response or a feeling, leading to a desire or aversion, craving, and then to the arising of an intention to act, known as becoming in the links of dependent origination, and finally to the action itself, or birth, in the wheel.
This is also called following the links of dependent arising, the causal relationship between mental processes described in traditional Buddhist literature. By intentionally tracking these causal links with attention, the meditation on dependent arising makes metacognitive awareness more powerful and provides insight into how mental processes unfold. Let's say your ears are producing a buzzing sound. You can direct your attention toward the auditory sensation and observe the associated feeling of displeasure that arises. Then you notice that of a desire for the sound to go away arises in response to the unpleasantness. But because you're sitting in meditation, the only option for escape is to direct attention elsewhere. So you observe that an intention arises to redirect your attention. Regardless of whether you act on that intention or not, a new contact event will follow, meaning a new sound. If attention doesn't move, this whole sequence will repeat, cycling through pleasant, there's a sensation. It's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. I like it, I don't like it. I have an intention to act around it, push it away or pull it toward me. And then an action, or if you're letting the intention, you don't do an action. Okay. So that's known as the links of dependent origination. And we've been playing with that from the very beginning, right? Like that's something we've been asking you to notice. Here, the difference is that your mind is a much more different animal, and you're at once your resolution will have sped up so intensely, and the mental processes are slowing down because you're ignoring them. You've ignored them for so long, right? So your mind isn't producing as quickly as it does, and you're also speeding up what you're able to observe in a finger snap, right? So this is really powerful. Whether you're investigating thoughts or sensations, you can move from sensations to thoughts, which is a little bit more complex. Analysis is not the point. The content of the thoughts and sensations is mostly unimportant. You're just observing how they arise and pass away, independent on one another, and how they're linked together by feelings, cravings, intentions, and actions. You're just noticing the pattern. The content of the pattern is completely irrelevant, right? You're just kind of seeing, oh, this is what it is to be a human, to have a human mind. This meditation practice strongly exercises metacognitive awareness. Here, however, there's a more specific goal to acquire an intuitive understanding of the causal process that drive our ongoing mental activities and which lead us to act and react as we do. If we bring our understanding of how these chains of association work in daily life, we're less likely to react out of aversion or craving, and more likely to act from a place of wisdom. The meditation on dependent arising can have a powerful transformative effect, especially when combined with the meditative review. So the whole idea is that we keep thinking that if we have that external stimuli can make us happy, or we want more pleasure, we want to avoid pain. That makes a lot of sense. And we're not saying to go dive into a lava pit, or not pull a thorn out of your foot, or to not go drink water and not go to the bathroom, whatever else. Like, you take care of yourself and other people. But what happens as we go about our business is that these unpleasant or pleasant sensations give way to craving, and it's that craving that causes suffering. Remember how we talked about pain times resistance equals suffering, right? If we let everything arise and we're completely okay with that, right? You break the link, because you're going to have pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, but it's craving right after the desire or the aversion where we have the power to break that link. And that's what awakening does, is it breaks that link so that you'll have pain and pleasure still, and you'll still go to the bathroom, you'll still kind of take care of things, but you're not going to have that craving or aversion, which is truly the nature of suffering, which is one of the insights that comes from doing these practices. Cool. So those are some things you do in 8. And then at some point, you'll experience all this physical stuff, right? At some point, you'll experience the manifestations of physical pliancy, such as the absence of ordinary tactile sensations, feelings of weightlessness or floating, and pleasurable sensations throughout the body. Grade 4 PT. When this happens, it's time to temporarily abandon the practices described that I was just talking about, all the mental games. In this section on exercising the newly compliant mind. Now you're on the home stretch for this stage. The most important thing is to completely ignore bodily sensations of any kind. completely ignore all these wild things that are happening? Oh, yes. Because it's about pacifying them, right? Like you don't want to give them more attention. So I recommend, I know we're kind of running over, I recommend really reading through Finding the Still Point and Realizing the Witness. It's so cool. And the luminous jhana, yes, you'll use that Nimitta,
What phrase is that?
I'm sorry?
Page 318.
Yeah, 318. This is a practice that allows us to step outside our reactions to the sensory experiences associated with the pacification and arising of piti. All this crazy shit, like you're in the middle of a lightning storm, and this is what allows you to step outside of it. To let these processes unfold naturally by themselves. It also helps you practice equanimity. PT and to kind of that craving where you a pleasant, unpleasant, and you're like, I'm not going to crave either of that. Yeah. Start with your meditation by becoming fully aware of the world around you. Explore your immediate environs with full intention. You're going to be like, I'm in the universe, and the universe is spinning in a bigger universe, and that's so multidimensional, and everything's swirling and interconnected and in flux, and that's great. And then, while keeping the universe of ceaseless movement and change clear in your awareness, shift your attention to your body, sitting in stillness on the cushion. Allow the contrast between the stillness of your body and the activity of the external world to saturate your consciousness. Keep your attention focused on your body while the rest of the world fills your awareness. Over time, you'll naturally become aware of movement and activity in the body, breathing and the beating of your heart and the pulsing of your arteries and maybe the energy currents and involuntary movements of piti. Visualize all the other activity you know is taking place in your body. The movement of food through your digestive tract and blood through your tissue and urine collecting in the bladder and glands secreting substances of all kinds. So it's like magic school bus inside the body. You know that one? Once you have a clear, strong sense of your body as a hive of activity, shift the attention, focus of your attention to your mind. Let the hum of activity in your body join the rest of the world in peripheral awareness while attending to the relative peace and quiet of your well-trained mind. Contrast the relative calm and quiet of the mind with all the turmoil and activity outside in the physical sensations, noting in particular the quality of mental stillness and peace. So it's that contrast that really lets you get there. You're going to really feel the difference and the refuge of the inner stillness of the mind. But then you start to notice once again that the mind isn't quite still, that there's still stuff swirling. And so you'll become aware of an ever greater stillness at the core of your moment-to-moment experience. This is called the still point, right? So it's not staying still on the breath or an object. It's this stillness that's at the core of your moment-to-moment experience. Make its stillness the focus of your attention. This is much like when we went into jhana, where it wasn't the sensations, but the pleasantness of the sensations. Here, it's the stillness of the moment, not a sensation in the moment, but the quality of stillness in that moment, each moment. Relegate everything else to peripheral awareness, letting things remain or pass away as they will. So even those subtler shifts, there's a flux of the universe, there's a flux in the body, there's even the subtle fluctuations of the mind, but there is a still point and a quality of stillness in each moment. And that's where you rest. Unification, okay. The strange sensations of pacification and the energies of piti will just blend with everything else in the background of awareness while attention rests unperturbed. Unification will continue. By doing this practice and investigating the still point, it becomes obvious that this is where all observation happens. The still point, in other words, is the metaphorical vantage point from which metacognitive awareness occurs, except that it's now become the seat of metacognitive attention. And the focus of your attention is the subjective experience of looking at the mind and the material world from a totally detached perspective. You'll keep observing. You may also discover this so-called witness, the subjective experience of pure, unmoving, and unmoved observer who is unaffected by whatever is observed. A warning is in order here. You will likely feel that you have discovered the true self, the ultimate ground of all experience. In a sense you have, but it's not at all what you think. The witness state is the ultimate ground of your personal experience, but it has arisen in dependence upon the body and the world and will disappear with the body. Its real value and significance is that it points toward a much more profound capital I insight, provided you don't make the mistake of clinging to it as the self. Doing so only nourishes the attachment we were all born with to the idea of being a singular, enduring, and separate self, all wise. Mistaking the witness state for a true self is what leads some people to claim that consciousness is the true self. To properly use the witness experience, probe more deeply. Go to the still point. Place of the witness with a question, who or what is this witness? Who is watching? Who is experiencing? Adamantly refuse to entertain any answers offered by your intellectual thinking mind. Also, don't be deceived by your emotional mind, which will try to make you believe you found the answer when you haven't. Just hold on to the question as you experience the witness, like a comb. If and when insight arises, it will be profound insight into the truth of no self, and it will be so obvious that you'll wonder why you never realized it before. Don't judge yourself or your practice by whether or not you discover the witness, or whether or not you have insight into no self. Those will happen in time. Meanwhile, the still point meditation is a powerful method for achieving the goal of this stage, unification, pacification of the senses, and meditative joy. Anyways, there's much more in the back end of this book, but it's kind of funny because you read about it and it seems so ordinary in a way. But when your mind is that different, it's subjectively quite profound. And to me, it makes sense that all of that profundity, it's not like there's new information to be had. It's just a depth and a quality of experience of that information, right? It's like talking about the sun, debating how many rays it has in your drawing, if it lives in the right-hand corner, the left-hand corner, or if it's, orange, if it's yellow, or if there's circles, or if it's shaded. And we can argue about how we draw the rays of the sun with crayon, with marker, with watercolor, with oil, with pastels, right? And then one day you've been talking about the sun, right? Pretend you live, I don't know, under the ground. And then all of a sudden one day someone says, here, come here, I'm going to teach you how to climb. You're like, climb? Why would I climb? I want to see the sun. You're like, no, just start climbing. Look, here's a ladder and you're just going to start climbing. You're like, this is really annoying. Oh, my muscles hurt. Oh, this is really ridiculous. And then all of a sudden one day you pop the hatch open and you realize you've been in a bunker locked there and that actually everything's okay and there was no nuclear disaster and you see the light of the sun for the first time and it's so completely different than you thought it was when you were downstairs coloring with crayons. And yeah. Not terribly new news, right? It's just incredibly, incredibly different and more powerful, and you have that with you. Cool. Thank you for letting me run over. It was such a joy to have all of you in class. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from teaching, but then I am going to try to create a few groups of students along the lines of where you are in your center of gravity in the stages so that you can practice together. And it's my design, the thinking is that it's going to be much more in the round with less focus on me and much more kind of group talk and answering questions and group practice to kind of be more of an accountability structure. And so they'll be kind of like 1 through 3, 4, 4 through 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like something like that, so that you can kind of pick and choose, and we might meet on different nights, or I'll figure something out, some way of doing that. Yeah, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me know if you want any meditation interviews. I'm always around, so you can just email me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for recording everything. My mom, she was like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to teach this class. And she's like, oh, I didn't. I'm like, yes, I've told you about this. And then somehow I mentioned that was like, she's like, well, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, they're on YouTube. She's like, well, is there anything I can look at? And she's like, my daughter's on YouTube? I'm like, yeah, Mom, but it's okay. Like, anyone who wants can be on YouTube. It's not a big deal. She's like, no, I can't believe this. My daughter's on YouTube. Like, I have to watch these. Like 20 people would watch them. It's okay. It doesn't mean anything. But, thank you for doing that.
Say hi,
You really,
Say
hi,
hi,
Mom. You really made her day. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Where do you go from here?
I live in Williamsburg.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.